visitors. It's always nice to have visitors in the audience with us. As you can imagine, it gets lonely in this room at times. We definitely love to see our children with us. We look forward to seeing them be recognized tonight. I'm going to ask, before we start, the board members, I've been asked to remind you that when we are speaking, like I am now, to cut on our mics for the audio. Not necessarily, I know people can hear me, but it's for our online audience as well. So with that being said, I'm going to ask Mr. Heitzman, if you would you lead us in prayer tonight, please, sir?
I sure will. Let's pray. Heavenly Father, Lord, I just invite your spirit into this place, Lord. Everyone that's here is here because they care about this community, Father. And we just pray that you be glorified through this meeting. We pray for our students, our parents, our community, our teachers and our staff, our leadership, and these board members, Father, and just give them godly wisdom. Give them wisdom from you in all that they do and all the decisions they make. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Amen. Is there a motion that we would approve the agenda?
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to approve the agenda.
Motion, Ms. Brooks.
Second.
Second, Mr. Clemens. Any discussion? All in favor that we approve the agenda, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Now we have announcements and recognitions. I told Mr. Hardin that I would do the first one for us, so he wouldn't have to talk about himself. The Ben Hill County Board of Education named Stephen Hardin as our sole finalist for the superintendent. We made that announcement last week. There is a Georgia law that we have to wait 14 days, at least 14 days, for that to kind of marinate in the community and let it be under scrutiny of the public. We'll actually give more days than that. We'll actually have a call meeting on the 24th, which we'll talk about later, and that's where we'll make our final approval on that decision, along with a budget workshop for our upcoming budget. But we'll talk about that. But welcome. All right.
I'm going to stand up where I can come down and give these awards out. It's an honor and a privilege to get to recognize our students tonight. It's always good when we can recognize students, and these students are our Young Author winners, Georgia Young Author winners, and we have one from each grade level. They're our local winners, and then once we have recognized our local winners here, they get sent to the RESA to compete against other RESA winners. And but at this time, I'll call these kids down, and if y'all will, y'all come down to the front, and I'll give you your award. Miss McCraney, as packed as we are, you may want to let them go out in the hall after we get through to take a good picture of them. Our kindergarten winner is Miss Kate Howell. We'll let you stand right here till we get them all up here, okay? First grade is Miss Tia White. Third grade is Mr. Bria Bow. Our third grade winner is Miss Aubrey Coward. Fourth grade is Miss Lillian Snowden. Fifth grade is Miss Rondasia Montgomery. I almost wanted to say mahogany. I got a lot of mahogany where I come from, so I apologize, Montgomery. Sixth grade is Miss Aubrey Strahan. Seventh grade, Kimberly Ariza. And eighth grade is Miss Lakin Brain. Again, these students are the winners from our school. Very proud of them. So they competed against their whole grade level, and they were chosen as the winner from their grade level. So great job, guys and girls. We do have one guy on there, so congratulations to the guy. Congratulations, and very proud of y'all. And we'll see what happens with the RESA competition. So,
Mr. Horn,
yes.
would you allow them to come around so we can shake their
Yeah,
hands?
Yes.
y'all
Thank
around
you.
this way, y'all come on through, and y'all, the board members like to shake hands. And parents, we would love for y'all to stay if you would like to stay, but after the pictures, if you don't want to stay, you certainly don't have to. Come on.
I told you he was too close.
Congratulations.
Right here.
Congratulations.
Congratulations. Congratulations. Congratulations. Congratulations, buddy. Congratulations. Congratulations. Congratulations.
Thank you, Mr. Hart.
Coach Hodgson. Oh, he's doing their first one.
Oh, she made it. Woo! That's what I'm talking about.
Thanks, sir. All right.
It's always good to see our students get recognized in their achievements. Hello, Miss Davis. How are you doing? Good to see you. And we do have a quorum tonight as well. For those that are wondering, we do have our amount here. We got 5. Mr. Johnson and Mr. Garrison are out of town tonight. Moving on with approval of minutes, we can go ahead and do this in one swoop if we need to, or if we want to. All 3 minutes are there. We got our regular monthly call meeting, and then our board meeting for March the 11th, and then our 2 call meetings on March the 20th and March the 31st. Is there a motion to approve the minutes?
Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve the minutes for March 11th regular meeting,
Motion, Ms. Brooks.
call meeting March the 20th, and call meeting March the 31st.
Got a motion?
Mr. Chairman, I second.
Got a second by Mr. Futch. Any discussion? Anything need to be changed or added? Hearing none. All those that would approve the minutes from those 3 meetings on March the 11th, March the 20th, and March 31st, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, then we move into our next part of the meeting is our public comments and board meetings, and we do have a few new speakers tonight, so I want to go over just a few bits of our policy. I'm not going to read our whole policy, but I want to read this so everybody is on the same board of what our policy and participation in the board meeting is. It says members of the public may address the Board of Education at appropriate times and in accordance with procedures established by the Board of Education and Georgia law. All presentations are to be brief and intended for the Board of Education to hear comments or concerns without taking action. The public may remark on issues regarding the school district and the Board of Education's conduct of the schools, including criticism of the school operations and programs. However, issues or incidents involving individual employees or students and matters that are in litigation or an administrative process will not be addressed in public participation. Other channels provide the Board of Education to consider complaints related to individuals. In addition, administrative procedures for problem resolution must be exhausted before the matter is brought before the Board of Education. And then I'll move down to our last paragraph. The board chair shall be responsible for calling on all speakers to maintain order and for adhering to time limits set. Those who speak are limited to their remarks to a maximum of 5 minutes. Each speaker will state his or her name. Just tell us what street. You ain't got to give your house number for your address, and then what subject which he or she wishes to speak in accordance with law. The board chair may limit the number of persons speaking for or against an issue. All speakers are asked to keep their remarks civil. The use of obscene and profane language, physical violence and threat thereof, or loud or boisterous behavior will not be tolerated. And that's the board policy for public meetings. And now we'll call Mr. Charles Benoit. Mr. Charles Benoit.
My name is Charles Benoit. I reside at 126 Huntington Ridge Drive here in Fitzgerald. And my purpose of speaking is to consider the possibility of having the Boy Scouts distribute some literature at the schools, not to hold meetings there, but just simply to bring brochures and literature so that we can possibly get new members to come through the Cub Scouts, Boy Scouts. And also this is now open to girls as well. So like to do that. My position, I've been the treasurer of Troop 875 for 10 years, and it's been a very, pretty much an honor to participate. One of the reasons that it's beneficial for the school to allow this opportunity is that your scouts tend to be a little bit better students. They tend to be a little bit more respectful to the teachers, administrators, and more importantly, the other students. This will be no cost to the school system, which will be a pleasure for your treasurer. All right. One important factor, if a scout is able to achieve the rank of an Eagle Scout, this will be a lifetime achievement. It really looks good when you're applying for a job, when you're applying for a scholarship at a college or a university. It speaks volumes. On a more personal note, when my son John, when he graduated in 2009, he was an Eagle Scout. And when he was at Valdosta State, he met his future wife. Of course, she went home and told her parents about him. And they said, well, tell us about him. And she said, well, he's from Fitzgerald. What else? And she said 2 words that really made an impact: Eagle Scout. Okay. I don't want to use up too much of your time. I'd be glad to meet with y'all later on. But if we could have that opportunity to allow, not necessary to have meetings on the school facilities, but just to distribute the literature, it would be very much appreciated. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Charles.
All right.
Next, we have Ms. Quatasa Trotter. And I forgot to say this, but Ms. Trotter knows I'll give you kind of a 1 finger, 1 minute mark. Just letting you know you got a minute left if you get to that 5 minute mark.
I'm a regular.
There you go.
So what I want to talk about today, Quatessa Trotter, Lovinger Avenue. What I want to talk about today, we had the privilege of our student support or student services director back in February's meeting. He gave us a little PowerPoint of our tier documentation for behaviors. If you attach to the documents that I gave you is a picture of that, as well as the 2024 data from the state for disciplinary report. Now, the reason I wanted to speak on this tonight is what's alarming to me is that we're still in the same situation, and in most schools, we're worse than 2023, because I am keeping data and a graph and everything on this data as we go along. So in 2023, the number of black students compared to other students, the district was at a 60.6%. 24, they are at a 62.8, which shows that more black students are getting rolled up and disciplined and thrown in ISS, out of school suspension, alternative school, and expulsion more than any other race in this town. I am not a race baiter. When I come with this sensitive matter, I come with data and facts to support what I'm saying. We have an enrollment by diversity of black students 43%, white students 40.9%, Hispanic students 12.2%, and 2 or more races 3.7%, and Asian students at 0.3%. So the ratio compared of black students compared to white students is not that far off for the data to be so high of just the black students getting disciplined in this district. Now, what's more alarming is when the tier data was shown in February 2 months ago, it showed that most of the schools were not doing tier interventions for behaviors in tier 2 and tier 3. So these students are also not getting support for those behaviors that they're getting rolled up. So it's like they're just getting rolled up and that's it. We're not receiving any tier interventions. We're not receiving any tier 3 interventions, as well as no evaluations to give them an IEP or 504 to support them in the classroom setting for behaviors. It's very alarming that the primary school and the lower grade levels where the interventions need to be pushed the most for early intervention is so high. It's alarming. We are on year 2, because I haven't went further back in 22 and 21. We started at 23 when I first started introducing this and sharing this data with y'all when I found out about it. So 23 and 24 is what I'm tracking, and then as we go on, I'll track more. But it's alarming. It's very alarming that this number of black students compared to other races in this district is being disciplined more than anybody. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Trotter. And next we have, is it Ms. Shanika Pascal? Is that right?
Yes.
Welcome.
Welcome, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Shanika Pascal, Arnold Drive. I'm here today to speak on a current event that happened this year for 2025 Senior Walk Prom. Concerning a couple of girls, I'm here, so I'm speaking on behalf of my daughter. Great student, top 10. I'm really speaking on how she felt very humiliated at the prom, at the senior walk. You know, there was a dress code that was enforced. Very aware of the dress code. Purchased the dress because we knew there was a dress code. But to walk into a senior walk with her crying, again, felt humiliated, was told what was showing, what was too short, what was cut too low, what was too high. Very unacceptable for a senior prom at that night. She wasn't the only girl, it was a couple of girls, and it just was not just down at the bathroom, it just was not good at all. You know, and there needs to be something addressed as far as the dress code, because I was clear on the dress code, you know, but I just didn't like how my daughter felt like, you know, she was talked to like she was a night girl. That was unacceptable, you know, and to end the night, it was just a night started wrong, a night ended wrong, you know, and again, coming from a parent, at that moment, I did feel like my daughter was targeted. It was at least 20 girls, but I'm speaking on myself and my child. And the reason why I say targeted, because, you know, as a parent, I am this high. You know, I have, within a year, the end of last year and this year, I have filed 2 grievances, 3 complaints, also sent 1 to the state. Nothing has been done, and I'm speaking on accountability. And for staff, faculty, administration, they are accountable. And as a parent, I am accountable because that's my job to know and make sure of the well-being of my child, okay? And that's where I'm going off of accountability and making it aware of, you know, something has to change just in the district itself, you know, and if things don't change, it's not going to be good. You're going to probably have parents that's moving their kids out of this school district. And if you have kids moved out of this school district, what happens? No funding for the school district. And it's becoming a problem. You have for the primary school, and these was, you know, data from 2024. Primary school, you have percentage of students of 58 minority students. No person of color in admin. Ben Hill Elementary, 1 person, 57% of minority, 1 color of person of admin. At Ben Hill Middle School, that's 56 minority, 1 person of color in admin. Fitzgerald High School College and Career Academy, the percentage of admin is 63% of minority with no person of color. And the reason why I'm putting that out there is because you have to take in consideration, going back to the prom, those girls are different. Body types are different. So there needs to be some type of something implemented in place where, you know, you have to be understanding into body type. And again, I'm speaking on my child, you know, someone that doesn't get in trouble, good grades in school, and I just felt that she was she was put in a very bad place and humiliated. And with these numbers reflected, there's a poor representation of the student body in every school in this district when it comes to administrative staff. If there's a diversity within the student body, there should be a diversity in the staff, especially admin. Until this improves, you all will continue to have insensitive issues of this occurrence and complaints, and the potential of lawsuits that will occur and arise if things does not change in this matter. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And next we have Ms. Shanita McCray. Hello, Ms. McCray.
Shanita McCray, Mary McDrive Extension. I'm the one that went to the news about what happened at Prom
Okay.
last weekend. Out of the administration, only 2 people reached out to me. That was Ms. Blunt and Austin, which she did say she brought it to you guys' attention. Nothing was done about it, and I did speak with him through messaging on inbox, and I told him that it would be handled. I didn't like the fact of the way the girls was dress coded, just simply, and it was a racist thing. It was, and to see a principal standing there laughing about the situation. My daughter don't want to go to school anymore. I had to make her get up Monday and go to school. This has got out of hand. Somebody need to be held accountable for it because it was not right. When I purchased her dress, I went by you guys' guideline. Her dress fitted that guideline. So I don't understand it. I'm upset and I'm angry. I'm upset because it was wrong. To see our black kids pointed out, and I have several pictures in my phone of kids with their cleavage showing, with high splits, low dips. I've seen so much of it. I've had white parents to inbox me saying that it was wrong. Their kids was not coded. They have the same exact dresses on, and nobody done nothing about it. Nobody seen nothing. I've held it in, and I've held it in. I'm tired of the school system. It is out of hand. It has went too far. And if something doesn't be done now, I'm gonna seek legal action, and I'm gonna hold all of you guys accountable for it because it was wrong. To have my daughter laying in the bed crying, her prom night, those are memories. Y'all got memories of your prom night, right? To see a principal on Facebook making posts, a principal making posts on Facebook, to see educators on Facebook making posts, it was a joke. It was a joke to everybody. It's not a joke to me when it comes to my child. I can't speak on everybody else. If they can't come here and speak for their child, whether they're white or black, I don't care. I'm not a racist person. I love everybody. We're all the same. I don't understand why is it such a big deal with race in this community. It gotta stop. It has to stop. If y'all don't change, it's gonna get worse. You see the killing? They're not killing white people. They're not just killing blacks. They're not just killing Mexicans. Everybody. If y'all don't make this change now, it's going to get worse. It's going to get worse. The administration needs to be held accountable. That dress code, if you're gonna go by it, it should have been addressed to everybody that was in that line. Everybody that came through that door should have been addressed. Why haven't the pictures been posted on Facebook? That's what I want to know. I even went back to my son's prom last year. The pictures was posted. King and Queen was posted. Nothing has been posted from that prom. I worked Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. I laid in my bed all week long. And I went from post to post, page to page, and I found so many pictures. I found so many pictures. Yes, some white kids were dress coded. And I was told that one child chose not to walk because of her dress. She was dress coded. But many were not. And I have so many white people that had pictures of their kids in my inbox and told me, no, they was not dress coded. And it's not fair. Whether they walked or went to that dance, they was a part of that event. And it's not right. And something needs to be done about it because I'm angry. My daughter's angry. She don't want to go to school. I'm making her go to school because I can't homeschool her. My education level is way down the line the way y'all teach things. Now, I know I can't educate her. So, what are we going to do about it? That is my question. What are we gonna do about it? Is it gonna continue to go on, or are we gonna fix the issue? And that's with everybody. That's every race. Not just blacks, not just whites, not just Asians, everybody. If you're gonna do it for one, do it for everybody. That's what everything that's going on in this school system is out of hand. And I've had enough. I've sat quiet long enough. Thanks to you two for reaching out to me. I really appreciate it. Thank you all. The news says she reached out to the superintendent. She reached out to the principal. Nobody responded. That's why I come today. I was actually in my kitchen cooking.
1 minute.
I wasn't gonna go. But what are we gonna do? And that's all I wanna know. Who's gonna be accountable for this situation? Who's accountable for this dress code? It needs to stick with everybody. And that's all.
Thank you, Ms. McRae. All right, we'll move into system reports. Is there a motion for the consent agenda items?
I'll make a motion for the consent agenda.
Motion, Mr. Clemmons.
Second.
Second, Ms. Davis. We have a general fund, looks to be sitting at $6,369,605.08 out of balance.
About $560.
Yes, ma'am. And then we have Fund 100 at $2,821,204.61. Fund 150 is at $206,588.63. And then ELOS for March showed up with the low interest we got at $239,049.97.
It's just a little bit short of what we asked.
Our average, yes, ma'am.
I do have a question, Mr. Chairman,
Okay.
on paid bills. I should have called you guys and asked you about it, Natalie, but I forgot. Paid bills. Who is the law firm of Donna S. Vidas? We paid them
From a lawsuit.
and we paid them $9,900.
That if you look, that's a negative. We actually got that back. Whereas this Miss King, did she make it in? She may have not made it in.
Oh, okay.
That's where we had
We overpaid and they paid us back.
and they wrote us a check back. Yes, so
Okay.
that's a negative.
Okay, thank you, I appreciate the clarification.
And then we also have the financial support or reports for the athletic reports for the high school and the middle school. We have a motion and a second for the consent agenda items. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all those that would approve the consent agenda items say aye. Any opposed? Moving to the transportation requests, we do have two that require action for out of state. May the 4th through the 10th, we have our high school robotic program going to Dallas, Texas for the VEX Robotics World Championship. And then we have May the 9th for our Ben Hill County Middle School 8th grade going to Orlando, Florida for the grad adventure that they get to enjoy Universal Studios down there.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we approve the out-of-state transportation request for our robotics team and for the 8th grade.
Motion by Ms. Brooks.
Second.
Second by Mr. Clemmons. Any other discussion? All those that approve those two out-of-state requests for transportation say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Moving to report on curriculum and instruction. I think the middle school.
Well, good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
I come to you with some good news.
All right.
All right. We made a significant jump in our writing at Ben Hill Middle School, and my teachers and my students wanted to brag on themselves.
Awesome.
I think we should celebrate it.
Yeah.
So I'm going to talk about it for just a minute, and then I'm going to turn it over to my teachers and students to share, and we'll try to be brief. So Ben Hill Middle School last year, looking at our milestone data, we were not doing as well as we wanted to do. Our content mastery in 2024 was 44, which is on a scale of 0 to 100. In 2024, we went from 44 up to 51, so we made a 7-point jump. And our goal this year is to go at least to 55. And one of the problems was that our students do not know how to write. Writing is very, very hard to teach. I don't know how to teach it. as a social studies teacher, it just wasn't something that I was trained on how to teach kids to write. And then on top of all that, with the internet and plagiarism and artificial intelligence, teachers really have their hands full on as far as how to teach kids to write. So looking at our data, I agree with Ms. Trotter. I love some data. If you look at 2023, the percentage of students that were proficient or distinguished in ELA was just about 25%, which is not where we want to be. We want that number to be higher. The next year, 2024, with some writing improvements, we jumped from 25% to about 32, 33%. So we're still not where we want to be, but we are definitely going in the right direction. And that's across every category, because it breaks it down by Black, Hispanic, multiracial, white, economically disadvantaged. And so my teachers have done an incredible job. And so the question is, what have they done? You go to the next slide. We brought in some old pros. I'll never forget when I moved here in 2024. And at the time, Lee Dorsett, who some of you might know, Lee, he always talked about Angela Davis. He said, she turned that high school around. She was an instructional coach in like 2008, 2009, and he bragged on her, and then Roy Bryan did the same thing. And those two guys, if you can win them over, old social studies coaches, you are doing things the right way. So we brought in Angela Davis, and we brought in Susan Henry, and the two of them have done an incredible job of training and working with my teachers on how to effectively teach kids how to write. And it's not an easy process, y'all. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn it over to my teachers. I saw Ms. Reilly, I saw Ms. Bach, I saw Ms. Mitchell. They're going to tell you what they've done, and then we actually have two kids that are going to read to you short, and then we'll be done.
One
So,
quick question.
Yes, sir.
Heisman. Just going back to your data for just a minute.
yes.
You got it broken out by race, and then you got economic.
Yes, ma'am.
Economically disadvantaged. That covers all races, correct? So is that a duplication?
No, that's how the state reports it, and economically disadvantaged would be, yes, across every race if they're poverty, if they qualify with poverty. At this time, I'm going to turn over these teachers.
Thank you.
Let's give them a round of applause.
All right. Hello, everyone. I'm Miss Bach, and this is Miss Mitchell. We are the 6th grade ELA teachers at Ben Hill Middle School. So with the help of Miss Davis and Miss Henry, we've been working very hard to assist our students in developing their writing skills. Specifically, we have been incorporating a detailed writing format for literary and informational analysis paragraphs that can be tweaked or modified for any written response in any class. Our social studies and science teachers have jumped on board and incorporated this response format into their plans as well, which is amazing. In most written assignments, our students are using directly quoted evidence and higher level transition words. And ultimately, the format is used for body paragraphs of essays. So essentially, the students are practicing for the milestones all year long. All right, Ms. Mitchell is going to go over the format for you. And if anybody else wants one of these, we've got the sheets.
Okay, so when we start working on writing, the first thing we're talking about is writing a paragraph. So we teach them to start by writing an introduction sentence. Usually there's a prompt that they're responding to. So in the introduction sentence, they're supposed to restate and answer the question or answer the prompt. Then they must use a signal verb in their second sentence before they use a quote. Now the signal verbs, there's a list of them at the bottom, are words like declares, mentions, points out. So you would say the author declares, or the writer points out, or the text describes. But you have to give credit to whoever that quote came from. All right, and that is your second sentence. Then the third sentence is they use transition words before they explain how that quote supports the answer that they gave when they restated and answered the question. All right, then they do that again. They do another signal verb and another quote that supports their answer, and another transition and explanation. So you're up to 1, 2, 3, 4 sentences now. Is that right?
That's your fifth.
5. That's the 5th sentence. And then the last sentence in the paragraph is a concluding sentence. So they're going to use another transition word, one that's more fitting for the end, like in conclusion, to sum up, finally, something like that. And then they're going to kind of encompass, bring it together and summarize their ideas and restate their position or their claim, their answer to their question one more time, maybe a little bit differently, not an exact replica of what they said in paragraph 1. But we've been working on this all year, and the students have gotten really good at it, and they are much more confident writers. So we hope to have better scores on the milestones in writing this year.
And the best way to show you is by having a student come read a constructed response. So come on up, this is Natalie Rowe, 6th grader.
Hello, my name is Natalie Rowe, and I am a 6th grade student at Ben Hill Middle School. This is a constructed response paragraph comparing 2 poems. The question was, what is one theme that both Animal Wisdom and The Last Wolf share? One theme that both Animal Wisdom and The Last Wolf share is that animals are very clever and intelligent. The eagle remarks, what's missing is laughter so that arguments can be resolved without rancor. Lines 15 through 17. Since the eagle knows that happiness is important, he is very clever. The author claims that the wolf trotted across the floor. He laid his long gray muzzle on the spare white spread, and his eyes burned yellow, his small dotted eyebrows quivered. Lines 22 through 26. Because of this quote, readers can infer that he is clever by knowing what the destructive humans are doing. To conclude, one theme that both of these poems share is that animals are very smart.
Our next reader is Lakin Brown, 8th grader.
Hello, my name is Lakin Brown, and I'm an 8th grade student at Ben Hill Middle School. Today I'll be reading an excerpt from a literary analysis written to compare and contrast the movie Coraline, produced by Henry Selick, and the book written by Neil Gaiman. In addition, imagery is used to describe certain parts on a deeper level in the book and the movie. In the book, Neil Gaiman used imagery to describe different parts of the story in greater detail. Gaiman illustrates Coraline locked the door of the drawing room with the cold, black key. Furthermore, the sense that the key was cold and black allows the reader to sense and understand the situational irony proposed. Not only so, the reader can imagine the key, but also the reader can imagine the situation produced. It could have also been taken as the author trying to tell us the other world isn't as enjoyable as Caroline thought it was, and it's rather dark, scary, and makes us feel cold inside. So she was locking herself away from going back. Similarly, the movie focused a scene on Coraline using the dark key to lock the door to this world, proving it was a scary place, and she had no intentions of returning. In conclusion, the book and movie both use imagery as an example to further add detail to the story and allow some factors of situational irony to be explored.
Our final reader is Mr. Aiden Outlaw, and I believe his writing is a narrative. So he has written a story.
He's been working all week on this.
Yay! He is a 7th grader.
Hello, my name is Aiden Outlaw. I'm going to be reading my text, Deceptive Dinosaurs. Whenever we think something is bad, we need to think. Things could be worse. For instance, suppose a child in your family might not be promoted to the next grade. What would you think? But for now, let's switch to dinosaurs. When people think of dinosaurs, many will consider them as something for children, for whatever reason. One of the last things people think about is how horrific they would be. Picture this scenario. It's a warm summer morning, dew is covering the ground. You go outside for some air, or maybe to feed a pet. When you walk outside, you see a massive 7-ton-plus creature feasting on the tree in your backyard. How does that sound to you? Keep in mind you can't exactly get this reptile out of your yard. If you even tried to move it by force, there's a good chance you and your house will get trampled. In case you didn't find that worrying, imagine what the world would be like if they did still exist. If they were alive, a lot of the problems we face nowadays, in terms of animals, would either be obsolete or outcompeted entirely. Let's picture another scenario. You forget to take out the trash, so you So you go to do it late. It's pretty dark outside and you have a flashlight. Whenever you get to the trash can, you see a dead raccoon on the ground with a dromaeosaur, which is a classification group of small to medium-sized carnivorous dinosaurs, standing over it. As you saw the creature's eyes glistening in the dark, its attention was now on you. If they still existed, the stories you would hear on the news relating to animal attacks might not be a bear, a crocodile, or even a gorilla maybe. It might be something else. It's not a commonly known fact, but for a lot of creatures, we humans would be in a good size range to eat, so it wouldn't be out of the question for them to hunt us. With this being said, whenever you think something is bad, try to imagine something worse. The child who might not be promoted always has next year to make it to the next grade.
Come on. Do y'all have any questions for us?
I'd like to say thanks to you, Coach Heitzman, Mr. Curtis. Thank you, sir, for your work out at the middle school. Our teachers, thank y'all for y'all's efforts, but most importantly, our students. Thank you for getting up. Many people in the room tonight wouldn't be able to get up and much less read anything off the paper, but to read it as you have so eloquently was wonderful. So great job. Good stuff. All right. Yes. Moving into new business, superintendent's new business. We have a request for the approval of the GSBA Governance Team Self-Assessment and Exemplary Committee. Serving on that was Mr. Harden, Mr. Johnson, Ms. Brooks, Ms. Crystal Neal, Ms. Becky Gay, and Ms. Natalie King. Ms. Brooks, would you like to say anything on it since you served on that?
Yes, sir. Thank you. The committee was very thorough. We went through the information, and I'm happy to report that our school board met all of the requirements for the Georgia School Board Association's exemplary board. And with that, Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we approve the report.
Okay, got a motion that we would approve the governance team self-assessment.
I'll second.
Got a second by Mr. Futch. Any discussion? All those that would approve the GSBA Governance Team Self-Assessment of Exemplary Committee report, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Next, we have request approval of resolution for distant learning and telemedicine to new reporting and compliance system. Anything we need to know?
No, this is really just a new reporting compliance system. That's a lot of fancy words in there, but basically it's just that new compliance reporting system that we have.
Is it something we were already reporting, basically?
Yes.
Okay, is there a motion that we would approve this resolution?
I'll make a motion to approve the resolution.
Motion, Mr. Clemens.
Second.
Second, Ms. Brooks. Any discussion? All those that would approve the resolution for distant learning and telemedicine to new reporting and compliance system, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And then these next few will be our final read. Remember last month we had our first read of these board policies. And for our new members, occasionally we'll have policies come across that GSBA will get some updates on, and they'll come across our window, and we kind of review them and read them, and that's kind of where we're at with these.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, ma'am.
Speaking of new members, can we take just a moment of personal privilege and introduce our new member?
Yes, please. This right here is Mr. Austin Futch. He has been elected to represent District 6 after a long battle. Yeah, thank you for that, Ms. Brooks. Is there a motion that we would approve the final read of Board Policy GBR, Professional Personnel Working Conditions?
I'll make a motion to approve the final read.
Motion, Mr. Clemens.
Second.
Second, Ms. Davis. Any discussion?
The only thing about those policies that really changed is we just cleaned it up a little bit.
That's what it looked like to me.
Change, and I just don't want people to panic.
That's right.
That we're gonna start laying off folks
That's
right
right.
away, and so.
That's right. This just happens to be the cycle of these policies coming updated. All right, so we got a motion and a second. All those that would approve the final read of Board Policy GBR, Professional Personnel Working Conditions, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Is there a motion that we'd approve the final read of Board Policy GBR-R1, Professional Personnel Working Condition?
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Ms. Brooks, motion.
Second.
Second by Mr. Futch. Any discussion? All those that would approve the final read of Board Policy GBR-R1, Professional Personnel Working Conditions, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Is there a motion that we approve the final read of Board Policy GBKA, Professional Personnel Layoff?
I make a motion that we approve the first read.
Second.
The
This will be the final read.
excuse me,
Got a
final
second,
read.
or got a motion by Ms. Brooks, a second by Ms. Davis. Any discussion? All the,
Again, like I said, I just hope that people don't panic about these policy changes. Of course, the expectation is that people don't come to work every day. The expectation that people don't come to work on time. And we have an expectation that if we run out of money, they understand that we have to do some layoffs.
that's it. Motion, and second already. For those that would approve the final read of Board Policy GBKA, Professional Personnel Layoff, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Is there a motion that we would approve the final read of Board Policy GCR, Classified Personnel Working Conditions?
Yes,
Motion
I'll
to
make
approve.
a motion to approve the final read of board policy.
Motion, Mr. Clement. Who was that? Was that Ms. Davis?
I was making a motion,
I-
but we'll
I got
take
you.
his.
And then we'll go with Ms. Davis on second.
Second.
All those that would approve the final read of Board Policy GCR, Classified Personnel Working Conditions, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, through policy there. All right, moving to approve contract renewal of landscaping services.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Buell and I were talking with the price of health insurance and everything else going up. Instead of bidding out these, he went to our current landscaping services provider, our exterminating services provider, and our cleaning service provider, and asked him if we would be willing to extend the contract, would they be willing to keep it at the same cost? And with us feeling like if we bid it out, everything was going up, would go up, and they told him pretty much if we bid it out, they would go up, and we felt like others would be higher too. So what I'm asking is that we approve these these contracts to extend them at the same price they've been the past 3 years.
For the same length of
For
time.
the same length of time, and we do, it says for 3 years, but you do have a 1 year, option in there for both of you.
For both of them, we have the 1 year option,
Yeah.
but it's a 3-year contract.
Yes.
Okay, for the same price, locked in.
Mr. Newell, did I miss anything there that you'd like to speak on? And do you want me to do those individually one at a time?
Yeah, we'll do them right here. So is there a motion to approve the contract renewal for landscaping services, and who does that for us?
Williamson.
Okay, just put it on record. For Williamson, is there a motion?
I move that we use a contract agreement for Williamson Lawn Service.
Second.
Ms. Brooks got a motion, Mr. Clemens got a second. Any more discussion?
We haven't had any issues or problems with landscaping.
Any of these, Ms. Brooks, if there's issues or concerns, they typically contact our schools, or anybody will contact Mr. Newell, and he will contact them, and they're always willing to fix or do
Okay.
what we ask.
So that property that is in the front of this building, that's not ours?
No, ma'am.
Okay, just wanted to make sure, because it looks terrible.
The old gym over there?
Yes.
No, ma'am,
Okay.
that's no longer
All
ours.
right, thank you.
All right, we got a motion and a second. All those that would approve the contract renewal for landscaping services, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Is there a motion for the contract renewal of Astro Exterminating Services?
I move that we approve the contract renewal for Astro.
Ms. Brooks with a motion,
Second.
Mr. Futch with a second. Any discussion on Astro? Hearing none. All those that approve the contract renewal for Astro Exterminating Services, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Is there a motion to approve the contract renewal for professional cleaning services, and this is with Cinderella?
So moved.
Mr. Futch got a motion.
Second.
Second, Ms. Brooks. Any discussion?
And we are very happy with them, right?
Yes.
We're pleased,
Our
just,
buildings are nice and clean, and we don't have any issues.
they do a good job.
And kind people.
Anytime that if we need something or want to do something different, they're always willing to step up and do what we ask.
Excellent.
Yep. All right, we got a motion and a second. All those in favor to approve the contract renewal for professional cleaning services, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Mr. Harden, you said all three decided to keep the same rate?
They were willing to
Okay.
keep the same rate, Ms. Davis. Yes, ma'am, that is correct. Of what we paid the last 3 years, and you know,
Okay.
over the past 3 years, nothing stayed the same. I don't mean that, so.
Okay. All right, upcoming events. I'm gonna read these off. This is a slew of them, and then I got a couple to add. Got an exemplary board application that is accepted between March 28th through July the 25th. Spring break, all the staff in the room says praise the Lord next week. Top 10 banquet will be April the 22nd. Board members, they're at Wiregrass at 6 p.m. I saw that email out this week. We were all invited to that. We get to bring a +1 with that. So you can bring a +1, board members. Called meeting work session. This will be our public hearing number 1 for the budget. This will be April the 24th at 6 p.m. Senior recognition night, May the 12th, 6 p.m. there at Fixture High School. And all these events, the school welcomes all the board members to come out. So be sure, if you're able to try to attend some of these end of the year programs. Our next regular monthly meeting will be May the 13th. We'll also be having our retirement reception at 5 p.m. prior to that meeting. So if you're able to make it to honor our retirees and then have a little finger food fellowship with them, that'd be great.
Is that gonna be the pre-K?
Are we doing? Oh no, it'll be here. It'll be here.
Okay.
Good question though. Senior signing day there at the high school, May the 14th. Honors night at the high school, May the 15th. Moving to the middle school for honors night, May the 19th. Graduation will be Friday, May the 23rd. Put that on your calendar. Don't look at the school calendar last day of school. You will be by yourself if you show up for graduation that day. And then we've got the summer conference. Miss Debbie's talking and getting y'all signed up, those that are going to that workshop and that conference. I think she has y'all lined up and stuff for that. And then if you're doing that virtual, be mindful of that as well. I know some of you may need some hours of training.
I mean, come on, man.
Not pointing anybody out.
Yeah, I could tell.
But and that'll be in Savannah. And then we've got our, don't forget, our local board governance requirements, including the local board training plan form and the local board governance training annual form. That's due June the 30th. And then don't forget, personally, we need to do our financial disclosure there at the online for the election stuff. And then that's by July the 1st. We won't have to pay no fine. And then already we've got winter conference December the 3rd and 4th up there in Atlanta. And then I have been asked to be sure that know that we are invited this week, April the 10th, to the Grand Theater on the 2nd floor from 11:30 to 1. And this is Malcolm Mitchell Community Literacy event is coming. And that's our primary school, I believe, that is putting that on, hosting that for us. So Ms. Jacobs just wanted to let us know that we're invited to that as well. And that's this Thursday. And then Ms. Hanlon reminded me that we have a, middle school has a spring chorus concert May the 6th at 7 p.m. out at the high school auditorium.
Where you read, if you can come Thursday, and that's not for Ocilla by no means,
Yes.
but it's because Malcolm Mitchell is a University of Georgia player and come from there. So, Ms. Jacobs, we're trying to encourage people to wear the red for the University of Georgia in support of him. So.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes,
can I
ma'am.
bring up a couple of things?
Yes, ma'am.
Have we made a notice to the public that graduation at school will continue after graduation? The parents, do they know their kids still gotta come to school?
Ms. Brooks, it's on the school calendar, so they should understand that, but
Okay.
as we get closer to that, we will be making that reminder.
Okay, we just want parents to make sure that children don't miss the last few days of school.
Now, our seniors will not need to come back. Once they graduated, they but
So you probably ain't getting them back regardless.
Pre-K through 11, they will need to be present, yes.
Yes, I just wanna make sure that parents are aware of that, and it won't be a surprise to them. The other thing that I had was, would you put on your calendar or yours, that whenever Communities in School has a event, that annual event, that the board also gets a table? It's the first time I ever missed it.
You talking about their celebrity dinner?
Do you know what I'm talking about? I saw it in the paid bills, so somebody went.
Yeah.
Next year, we just wanna support them, they help our school so much.
All right. Moving into personnel or executive session. Does anybody have a reason to go to executive session? Any of the recommendations from the superintendent tonight?
I Mr. Chairman, I would like to go into executive session, to discuss, our interview, or something that
Personnel?
happened in our interviews last week, and that should be a personal discussion.
Okay. Do you have a problem if we go ahead and move through the,
Yeah, we can do the
you gonna go ahead and do
rest.
this? Okay. All right. Anybody else good with the recommendations? All right. Mr. Harden, recommendations you got?
Terry Manning, transportation bus monitor, and Charles Manning, transportation bus monitor.
Is there a motion to approve the recommendation for the Terry Manning and Charles Manning for bus monitor?
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Mr. Clemens' motion, Ms. Brooks, a second. All in favor that we would approve the recommendations for Terry Manning and Charles Manning for bus monitor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? I knew you'd appreciate that, Dr. Barnes. Resignations, this is for informational items only.
We have Rhonda Pridgeon, 49% math teacher, Anthony Gill, BHPS paraprofessional, Amy Tucker, transportation bus driver, Tina Mathis, pre-K child nutrition, and Kristen Watson, BHMS teacher.
Okay, and that's for informational only, and then we have 3 retirements coming up.
That's Ms. Volene Walton, FHS CCA child nutrition department manager, Laura Cooper, FHS CCA teacher, and Julie Stevens, Ben Hill Elementary School teacher.
Is there a motion to approve these retirements?
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Futch, motion. Ms. Brooks, a second. All in favor that we would approve these retirements, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. No further business. Those that,
We're not discussing the budget. That's off the budget.
off of the agenda.
Okay, thank you.
Yep, we're gonna do all that on the call.
Okay, gotcha. I didn't do a refresh.
No more, no more personal stuff. Those that wanna go.
Well, and then we can mention that, we sent out Ben Hill.
Yep.
The Ben Hill County school system has a student that has tested positive for tuberculosis. And, we were notified by the health department after lunch on, Tuesday. And, so the schools, the student was at the high school. So we have been working very closely with the health department, and following their guidelines and regulations on what to do there, which put us in a time crunch because of spring break next week. So the high school administration got a list of all the classes that the student was in, who the student normally sat around at lunch, and then Dr. Barnes worked with the bus that the student rode. All of those students or parents were sent a letter and had a specific phone call that went to them. And I know at the pre-K through middle school, those bus riders, because they were the only ones at the other school, I asked the administration to call those parents, and then Dr. Barnes also gave them a letter as they were getting off or on the bus, or the parents who come out to meet, she provided that. But we will be having testing for those students at the high school. The health department will be providing testing for those that were in that area of possible exposure. That will be from 10 until 2 tomorrow. And the thing with the TB test is you have a little injection under your skin, but then you have to wait 48 to 72 hours and come back to see what the reaction is. So they will be testing tomorrow from 10 until 2 at the high school, and then those students who choose to be tested that were within the infectious zone, for lack of better terms, if they choose to be tested, then they'll have to be rechecked on Friday. Also, the health department will be testing like our pre-K through middle school kids. If their parents don't want to take them out to the high school, they can take them to the health department from 2:30 to 4 tomorrow, and then be rechecked on Friday afternoon.
Okay.
Please look at the letter on our website. Tuberculosis is it's one of those that are spread through air. It's not contact. The child hadn't been in school since the 27th, but I do know we have a lot of head colds and sinus and that type of stuff going around. So It may scare some folks. If you were not in the zone, the area that is for possible infection, if you want your child tested, you can do that, but that will be at the cost of the parent. The health department only covers those who are actually in those classrooms or in those areas where you were in close proximity.
Gotcha.
You know, if you've got questions, you can certainly look at we've made a phone call to all parents as well, just letting them know that, but we do have a notice on our website with some information on it, and if you have other questions, you can certainly call us.
All right. Thank you for that update with that, Mr. Harden. All right, we've had a motion to go into executive session. Is there a second?
Second.
Second, Ms. Davis. All those in favor that would go into executive session for personnel with our interview process, raise your right hand. Let the record show all those in attendance agree. We'll take a 5-minute recess, and then we'll take care of that. That's fine. I got